Hey everyone, it's Kong with the 16th issue of the Langrisser Lookout. This is a bi-weekly series where I go over some noteworthy game news and then follow it up with an update on my own account progress. So let's start with the important stuff, as always, the Community News Roundup. First, we gotta look at the sprite for Dark Matthew, and we don't have any additional solid information about him yet, but this is what he looks like. Next, of course, we're getting some new unique gear and new 3C skills coming to global servers in April 2021. So Emilia's unique weapon bumps her defense and magic defense, reduces physical damage when she's attacked, and lets her counterattack at range as long as she has her guard or her post-revive buff up. Rainforce's unique accessory natively bumps his attack, skill, and gives +1 movement. When he has 4 talent stacks, it lets him pass through enemies, Ares style, and when he has 7, it causes a bonus debuff on enemies he damages. Omega's 3-cost skill is a buffed up version of Cold Blood, essentially. It increases crit and crit rate, and it increases skill range by 1 for 2 turns. Instead of letting you move an additional 2 spaces to attack, it gives you whatever your leftover movement was +2. But it limits you to moving in straight lines, kind of like Ares' charge. Importantly, it also doesn't tick down your buffs when you use it, which means you can buff Omega's skill with the Witch's Reminiscence hat, and then it won't immediately wear off before you go in to strike. Sadly, it looks like this still won't reduce his reliance on Uller's bow, since the +1 range doesn't apply to his troops. Young Jessica's 3-cost skill is an offensive and supportive combo AoE. It does damage and dispels a buff from enemies, and it heals, dispels debuffs, and grants damage reduction to allies. There's also a passive component that triggers the supportive portion of the attack automatically when she dies. In more big content news, we have details of the new characters coming to the game in April, and it's another crossover collaboration, this time with Mashin Hero Wataru, an anime from the 80s and 90s. Buckle up. The main hero is 9 years old, there are mechs, and the art is this. There were some video game adaptations back on the TurboGrafx 16 localized as Keith Courage in Alpha Zones. We don't talk about Keith Courage. Okay, the main character is Wataru. He's a member of Protagonists, Yeles Legends, and Heroes of Time. His talent gives +6% attack and defense for each ally on the battlefield, up to a max of +30%. It restores 60% of his own HP at the start of each turn, and it lets him counterattack at 2 range while taking 30% less range damage if his hit points are full. All of his classes are infantry type, but there's a standard hero line and a mech line. The mech line actually has 4 movement and lets him pass through terrain. That does mean he can be obstructed by the Tree Sage's terrain effects, but he also comes with a kind of reverse chain hook mobility skill that pulls him up to his target. His effective range is actually completely bananas, because he has a couple of move again skills that can be chained together. So he can use that reverse chain hook move to advance to an enemy. This skill also lets him move 3 more blocks before attacking. Then he can use his other unique skill, which locks down an enemy and prevents them from moving or attacking, and this skill also lets him move 2 more blocks before attacking. He can finish this wombo combo off with his 3-cost skill, which is basically a jacked up sword soul, inflicting 1.9 times damage, dispelling 5 buffs, increasing damage even more against lockdown enemies, and preventing them from reviving. So this is going to be your new built-in tank eraser skill. The other banner SSR is Himiko. She's a member of Meteor Strike, Yeles Legends, and Heroes of Time. Her talent boosts her crit rate and crit damage by 30% and causes a random debuff whenever she deals damage. In a direct response to Rosenseal's domination of the debuff meta, this debuff cannot be dispelled or immunized against. Her talent also has an effect that triggers when she's attacked, and it makes both her and the attacker actually unable to attack and instead teleports her back to her nearest ally. Could be good for some adventurous wandering. This bonus effect is obviously on a cooldown. All of her classes are ninja type. She has a standard array of assassin skills like Shadow Raid, Plunder, and Riposte for ignoring guard and stealing buffs. Her true focus, though, seems to be a suite of unique ninjutsu skills that cause gnarly effects. She has a line attack that pushes enemies back 3 blocks. She has a single tile AoE skill, you heard me, that dispels buffs and makes it so the target can't attack or use active skills for a turn. Really mean. She has a self AoE that boosts her mobility and makes her able to walk through enemies and leaves a fixed damage terrain effect in her wake. And finally, her 3C is a 5-range, 3-line AoE that increases crit rate and inflicts 2 turns of mobility down on its targets. The SR unit from the event is going to be Shibaraku. He's a member of YLS Legends and Heroes of Time. His talent gives him 2 revives at 6 star, and each time he revives he gets a permanent plus 10% damage dealt, plus 15% defense, and plus 1 movement. For unique skills, he has one that disables an enemy's ability to guard for 2 turns, and one that's essentially a turtle shell move. It heals 70% of his hit points, and it makes it so he can't attack or move or use skills, but he also can't be targeted by enemy attacks or AoEs. He can still be caught or picked up in the corners of AoEs, so he still can be hit, but he just can't be targeted. His 3-cost skill is a strong single target attack that also causes a burst of AoE damage within 3 tiles after the attack, and it inflicts a % of max HP fixed damage debuff. Obviously, I'll have more to say about each of these characters when the banner actually comes around as part of my Should You Summon video. The only other thing to mention right now is that the current Night of Lost Souls Halloween event in the Secret Realm finishes up on Wednesday, November 18th. You can still trade in your rewards for a week after that, but do make sure that you have all your farming and your challenges done by then. Okay, that's it for the news, so let's move on to the Kong update for November 9th. Of course, we'll start with a summoning update, and the first banner in this cycle was the Illustrial and Angelina banner, and I spent literally 4 single summons to get 50 Tiaras shards. The next banner was the Gerald and Layla Night of Mystery and Elucia banner, and I was lucky enough to get my guaranteed Elucia in my very first multi-pull. So, all told, I got Elucia and some useless shards in 14 summons, bringing my lifetime SSR rate up from 1.74 to 1.78%. That's still not close enough to 2% to make me really happy about it, but it's going in the right direction at least. So let's hop into the game and get started by looking at my gates. The winner of the 10th Gates of Folly community poll was Deedlet, which allowed me to bring her up to within striking distance of 6 stars. So I am actually going to prioritize her now, so I won't make you vote for her again. I also brought the Sage of the Trees up to 4 star because I love him. I did stop there, at least for now, because he's perfectly functional and I wanted to evaluate other priorities. I also brought Rachel up to 4 star because it seemed kind of criminal not to have her at least be in decent enough PvE shape, and I'm really liking her. So the 11th Gates of Folly community poll is live now. The poll is going to be active all day Monday until the in-game server reset, at which point I'll start farming up whoever wins the vote all the way up until the next issue of the Lookout in 2 weeks. So I'm still going to populate this poll with a few units that I might want to focus on for Season 6, as well as some PvE freebies, so let's see where the fickle winds of the internet take us this time. For my gear, I've had another week of, I'd call it a decent week for gear. I got my first Frostfire crown, which sucks, but at least it's in the collection now. I also got my first dimensional jewel, but I'm not really sure what to do with it quite yet. So let me know in the comments who you like to use your dimensional jewels on. Last but not least, I got my second ever Swordsmith's medal. There's definitely no shortage of heroes who want to use that, and this alone, you know, you can never have too many of these, so getting a Swordsmith's medal anytime makes for an excellent week of gear. I don't actually have too much going on with my group or my grunts this week, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different now and talk about what I'm still missing. So, as a completionist, even though I might not have a lot of use for some stuff in the game, I do at least want these things added to the collection, so I don't need to worry about them being grayed out anymore. So, just a quick look through the heroes that I'm still missing. I'm still missing Shalinka, and I'm still missing Betty. I believe I have everyone else until Nomi and Rosalia, because I didn't summon on that banner. My plan for them, I do have a guaranteed Destiny Nomi coming up, and I'm planning on summoning on the Rosalia and Elwyn banner in January, mainly to get one copy of her, and one copy of Elwyn would make him 6 stars for me, so I don't need to shard him up. As far as crossovers, which I have a little bit less control over in terms of summoning or planning, unfortunately I missed both Kurama and the Toguro Bros during the original Yu Yu Hakusho crossover, and I'm not sure when that one will be coming back. I don't have an immediate use for these guys, but look at that grayed out little picture, that's so sad. Now, the first time the Sakura Wars crossover happened, I did summon for them, and I got no one on their banner, which is upsetting, and I'm glad to know that it'll be coming back in the new year because I'm going to summon for them at that time. And that is all the characters that I'm currently missing, obviously not counting new characters who are going to be coming out in the next little while. So let's take a look at equipment. For weapons, I'm still missing Uller's bow. I'm not going to really include any of the exclusives because I can kind of buy them whenever I want. I'm missing Mistletoe, which I find strange because it doesn't seem like it should be a really rare piece of gear, but I guess it is. Same with Blue Star. And I think those are the only 3 non-exclusive SSR weapons that I'm missing. I have all the armors, I have all the headwears, but accessories, I'm still missing Thor's necklace for some strange reason. And probably the most devastatingly, I'm still missing Jugler plushie. I would really love to have at least one Jugler plushie because that's something that I could use right away. I'm missing the relatively new Insidious pendant, but it's new, so it's not really surprising that I'm missing that. And I'm missing Apex boots, which I would probably be able to use right away, but yeah, so accessories, whenever accessories come up in the Sunday shop, I will usually try to buy them just in case it's one of those that I'm still missing. And other than that, the main weapon that I'm pulling for, Mistletoe or the Blue Star I can give or take, but I would really love to have at least one Ullers. So now whenever you see me sweeping a Dark Dragon or doing weapon gambles, that's what I'm hoping for. So that's going to be it for the Kong update. So thanks for tuning in this week, and thanks for all your feedback and advice and encouraging comments in the comments as always. Definitely stay tuned for the next episode of Should You Summon later this week, and then I'll catch you in the next Langrisser Lookout.